In this video, we will go over how to properly complete a daily tip claim when clocking out from the POS system. Let's begin with clocking in. You must clock in on the iPad, which is used to calculate your hours to be paid on your paycheck. And you must also clock in on the POS system, which is used to complete your daily tip claim. Yes, we understand this is an additional step for you, which may utilize an additional 30 seconds of your time, but it is necessary as the POS is not a scheduling system and Homebase does not have the same tip claim features built in. Okay, let's get to the good stuff. The recommended procedure when another staff member is ready to leave before you are ready to clock out. Start the clock out procedure on the POS system. So we'll click the time clock, enter our code, and click OK. And we're going to click clock out. Are you sure you want to clock out? Yes, even though we're not going to complete the clock out. Okay. Now what you want to do from here is enter the person or select the person you wish to tip. So this is everybody that's clocked in. If you only want to see the bussers, you can just click there. It will show only the busser clocked in. You can click them and you can enter the amount of tip that you want to give to them here. And then you will just simply click OK. You'll do this for every person you want to tip. Sometimes you may want to tip another server, somebody that went over and above to help you and you want to tip them. You still want to allocate the tips to them here, because if you do not do it here, you may give them cash, but that cash is still going to be taxed to you and not to the person that you paid it to. The way we determine what amount you're being taxed on is the amount that shows on the reports that we receive when you do this properly. So if you wanted to tip Alexa, you would select her name and you would enter the amount of tips you're going to tip her here. For this, we're just going to do the busser. We're going to click Melina. We're not going to enter an amount here, but we're still going to click OK. Okay, why is that not going okay? Oh, so hold on, let's not click OK there. Let's click the X. Yeah, so that works there. I think it wasn't letting us do OK because the amount was 0. We're not going to declare cash tips here because we're not ready to clock out. So we're just going to click the X, and then we're going to click the X again, and that will make it so we did not clock out. And if we go back in here and check it again, we'll follow the same step. And click OK. And clock out, and yes. And you can see Melina still has that 00. If we would have entered a number here, that number would be present there. So we're going to X out of there, X out of there, X out of there. We're still not clocked out. All right. Note, the person you are tipping does not need to remain clocked into the POS system to have tips paid to them. If you are a bus person or a bartender, you can clock out when you are finished and the other staff can still enter tips paid to you in the POS system. Do not remain clocked in while waiting to be tipped. All right. Now, the alternate procedure when you are ready to leave for the day and claim any cash tips you received or enter tips paid to other staff members. We'll start with the same step. We'll start with the clock out. I know you've already done this, a lot of you, but some of you, this may be new to you. We'll click OK, clock out, yes. Now we'll start the same process here. Now, if you haven't already entered, like say you did give a busser cash tip, but you have not entered it here yet, you want to be sure to enter that here now. So make sure you make a note of anybody you pay cash tips to. Otherwise, one, you're going to be taxed on the money that you gave to somebody else. And what's worse than that is whoever didn't receive the tips on their report when I do their paycheck, if their tips do not meet the threshold required by law, then I will have to allocate tips to them to be taxed on. So please make sure you're all doing this correctly. If you're tipping somebody, you must enter that amount here so that it reflects on the report and they can be taxed on it on their paycheck. All right. So let's say we're all done here and we click OK, which we know that ain't going to go because there's no amount here. Otherwise it would. So we'll click the X. Now declaring cash tips. All the credit card tips that you receive are automatically calculated on the report. If you receive any cash tips, you must declare that here. Even if a person pays their bill with a credit card but then hands you cash, you have to declare that here. Okay, now bussers and bartenders or any other tip staff members who normally only receive tips from other staff members, you'll follow the same process when clocking out. However, unless you pay tips to another coworker, you won't enter anything in the previous screen. So let's go back to that screen. Let's cancel here. I want to make sure that this is very clear to everybody. So if you are a busser or a bartender, you normally would not do anything on this screen unless somebody went over and above to help you and you wanted to, you're a busser, but you wanted to give another busser some of your tips. You want to be sure and claim that here. Otherwise, you're going to be taxed on all of the tips. I hope that makes sense. If you do not, you could even tip another server here, and servers, you can even tip each other here. But you all want to make sure you're doing it here so that the money is allocated to the correct person to be taxed on their check. Don't just be handing each other cash. You have to record it here. And also, do not falsify tips that you paid out to avoid paying tax on it. We're going to monitor these reports. Dishonesty will not work out well here, so please be honest and do this properly. Now, if you are a bus person or a bartender or anybody else that is tipped other than the servers, when you get to this screen here, normally you will do nothing here. Do not declare the cash tips that the servers gave to you. That is automatically recorded by that previous screen. Now, if a customer hands you cash and says, hey, doing a great job, you have to declare that here because that is not declared by the servers giving it to you in the previous screen. This is cash you received from a customer or somebody other than a coworker that has already been recorded. You must declare those cash tips here. And then you would just hit OK. And then, of course, you would just finish clocking out and you would be done for the day. Okay, this is what the report looks like that I pull every week to do payroll. So if you have received a credit card tip, it will show right here under charge tips. As you can see here, this is a charge tip. Don't worry about this red one here. These are charge tips, and no charge tips. These are declared cash tips. So this person declared none, declared 60, declared 40, declared 50. These two are added together. This person actually received $127.48 in charge tips, but it put $21.48 of it over here into gratuities. All right. With that said, this tip share paid, these are the amounts that you paid out to coworkers. So bussers, bartenders, or other servers. So this person paid out 22, paid out 13, paid out 77, paid out none. Tip share received. These are the amounts that are calculated from all of the people who paid tips out. They're calculated here. So everybody who paid tips out to this person on this day, they're calculated right here. So if you added up, this isn't all of the tips that were paid out. This is just a clip of the screen for the video purpose. But if you add all these amounts together, you're going to get this amount here. So this was a busser. They do not need to claim anything at this point. All of the servers that have tipped the busser are calculated here. Now, if a busser received a cash tip from a customer for some reason, they would also need to declare it here as a cash tip. Not cash from a server, only cash from maybe a customer. If for some reason this bus person needed help during a rush and they wanted to tip a server for their help, their tip share paid would be calculated here, that they paid out to another person. So if this bus person paid out $7 to another person, it would show $7 paid out here. Maybe they paid it to this person and it would show $7 positive in the tip share received here. I hope that makes sense. If you need any further clarification on any of this, please message us. Let Angel know. Let Russell know. Let somebody know so that we can clarify this for you so that this can be done correctly. Thanks.